Why would people who just escaped death through a miracle, an ocean split in two, turn around and complain after only 3 days? Under a desert sun that burns the skin, with no water and no bread, death feels close enough to hear it breathing. So why would God feed them with a strange rain of bread each morning? And what could make a dead dry rock burst open into a river for millions? Stay to the end and you'll witness faith tested like iron and fire. Because sometimes hunger isn't the scariest thing. Sometimes the scariest thing is a heart that doesn't know how to trust. That night, the waves swallowed Pharaoh's chariots. But when morning comes, Israel faces something just as ruthless. A vast, blinding emptiness beneath the scorching sky of the wilderness of Shur. Hot wind slaps their faces raw. Sea salt still clings to their clothes and hair. Their fear is no longer the sword behind them. It's the endless nothingness ahead. Every step sinks into burning sand like live coals, reminding them that freedom isn't a soft ending. It's a journey that tests faith. 3 days pass. The camp goes quiet. Children cry themselves hoarse from thirst. The elderly stumble and gasp, lips split and bleeding. Water skins turn light then empty, rattling like a countdown you can't ignore. Moses looks over this sea of newly freed people and understands. He isn't only leading them forward, he's carrying their fear, their trauma, their fragile hope. Then water, a shimmer in the distance, Mara. They rush it like drowning people reaching shore. One swallow and faces twist. Bitter. Bitter like the bitterness they dragged out of slavery as old wounds reopen. The camp erupts. What are we supposed to drink? Eyes turn on Moses not with hope, but demand, as if he can manufacture life out of sand. Moses doesn't argue. He turns away and cries out to God. God shows him a piece of wood. Moses throws it into the water. No thunder, no spectacle, just a silence stretched tight. And then the taste changes. The bitterness fades. The water turns drinkable, and the camp drinks so fast it sounds like the desert itself is gulping. The one who split the sea can change the stream. Moses feels relief and a deeper worry. Today they believe, tomorrow they may forget. They travel on to Elim, 12 springs, 70 palms. Shade falls cool and soft. Palm leaves whisper like lullabies. Under a sky packed with stars, they almost believe the worst is over. Almost believe faith is easy when the ground is shaded. But the desert doesn't let anyone live on illusions. Supplies shrink. Empty stomachs twist memory into a lie. They start longing for the meat pots of Egypt, for bread, for the feeling of being full, even if it costs them chains. Their complaint rises like a wave. If only we had died in Egypt. At least there we ate until we were full. You brought us out here to starve this whole assembly. Aaron stands beside Moses and learns the hard truth. Fear always hunts for someone to blame, and anxiety always rewrites the past. Then God speaks. He will rain food from heaven. Each day they must gather only enough for that day because he is testing them to see whether they will walk in his ways. The gift is comfort, yes, but also discipline. Not a life built on hoarding, but on trust. Every morning becomes a question. Will they believe today will still hold their portion? Evening comes. The horizon glows like embers. Wings beat the air. Quail sweep down and settle around the camp. Fires crackle. Meat sizzles. The smell spreads through dry wind. They eat like survivors, fast and grateful. The kind of eating that says, we're still here. Morning comes again. After the dew lifts, a thin white layer covers the ground fine as frost, like powder scattered across the sand. They stare and whisper, "Man, who?" "What is it?" Moses says, "This is the bread the Lord has given you." He warns them, each person gathers their share of an omer per person in the tent, no more, no less. A new rhythm takes shape. While the air is cool, baskets rustle, children call, mothers count portions, elders move slowly but surely. But when the sun climbs, the manna melts. Life arrives on time, and delay costs you. They grind it, cook it, bake it. It tastes gently sweet, like wafers with honey. Not luxury, not indulgence, but enough to keep walking, enough to keep learning. God commands, don't save it for tomorrow. Some don't listen. They hide extra in their tents, trying to buy peace with leftovers. By morning, it stinks and fills with worms. The odor spreads like a warning. What you clutch in fear can rot in your hands. Moses burns with anger, not because they challenged him, but because fear is poisoning them from the inside out. Then the sixth day arrives. Moses tells them to gather double. Tomorrow is a day of rest, the Sabbath holy to the Lord. And the portion kept for the seventh day doesn't spoil. A people once driven by the whip must learn to stop. Rest is no longer a luxury. It's a sign they belong to God, not to Egypt. Proof that they are not machines owned by someone else's schedule. Still, some go out on the Sabbath searching for manna. There's nothing but sand and wind. And God says, how long will you refuse to keep my commands? The wilderness is teaching them not only to receive, but to obey faith with a real shape in ordinary days. Faith that trusts even when the ground looks empty. Before they can settle, they reach Rephidim, and again there is no water. This thirst dries more than throats. It dries patience. They quarrel with Moses. Give us water. Moses, stretched to breaking, answers, why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord? Their faces harden, hands clench. Moses feels the edge of stones, the danger of a crowd that panics. So Moses cries to God, what am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me. God answers, go ahead of the people, take the elders, take the staff. I will stand before you at the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out for the people to drink. Moses climbs up. No music, only gravel underfoot and wind through stone. He stands before a cracked, lifeless rock, like hearts split open by fear. He raises the staff. The blow lands sharp and hollow, and then water surges out, clear and cold, flashing in the sun. A shout breaks from the people like breath finally released. They drop to their knees and drink as if they're drinking life itself, as if the desert has been answered. Moses names the place Massa and Meribah, testing and quarreling, because Israel argued and tested the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? The wilderness isn't only a test of endurance. It exposes the deeper wound. They left Egypt, but Egypt hasn't fully left them the habits of fear, reflexive complaint, the temptation to trade freedom for safety. And yet, through every doubt, God remains, sweetening bitter water, giving bread each morning, meat each evening, and water from a rock. He isn't only feeding bodies, he is shaping a covenant people, teaching them to wait, to obey, to rest, and to trust. Freedom in the wilderness isn't a headline moment, it's a daily choice. Not, I saw the sea split, but I will gather what I need and stop when God says stop. Not, I survived yesterday, but I will trust today. The miracles keep coming, but they're quieter now, measured in mornings in rest, in obedience, in the courage to not panic when tomorrow isn't visible. And each time they fail, he answers anyway, patiently, relentlessly, turning complaint into another lesson. And once they've eaten and drunk their fill, the question is no longer, is God powerful enough? The real question is, are they willing to believe? Next episode, a new enemy rises not from the sea, but from behind the dunes, Amalek. And this time, victory will depend on something strange, whether Moses' hands are raised or lowered. Like and subscribe so you don't miss the next Bible story.